A grown man in Beskar armor, one of the most formidable warriors in the Outer Rim, sliced open his own thigh because the blade in his hand had twisted against him. Every other lightsaber in Star Wars is a tool, an extension of its wielder's will. The Darksaber is something else entirely. It is a predator, a judge, and a burden that actively fights back. The true danger of the Darksaber has almost nothing to do with its cutting edge, and everything to do with the psychological warfare it wages on anyone who dares to claim it. The story of this weapon is a story of what makes it not just different, but 10 times more dangerous than any other lightsaber in the galaxy. Its story begins with a man who should not have existed. His name was Tarre Vizsla. Over 1,000 years before the Empire, at a time when the Jedi Order and the Mandalorians were ancient enemies, a Force-sensitive Mandalorian child was taken into the Jedi Order. He didn't just survive, he thrived, becoming a Jedi Knight. And then he did something no Jedi had done before, or has done since. He forged a lightsaber that came out black. He created a symbol that would one day decide who was fit to rule his people. When Tarre Vizsla died, the Jedi kept the blade in their temple on Coruscant, treating it as a relic. His descendants, House Vizsla, saw this as an insult. In a daring raid, they broke into the Jedi Temple and took it back. They called it a liberation. From that moment on, the Darksaber was no longer a Jedi artifact, but a reclaimed birthright, an instrument of power, and the ultimate symbol of leadership for the Mandalorian people. This is the first layer of its danger. To hold the Darksaber is to paint a target on your back. It is a declaration that you intend to rule Mandalore, inviting challenges from every rival clan and ambitious warrior. A normal lightsaber makes you a target in a duel. The Darksaber makes you a target in a war. And this is where the Darksaber's true danger begins to reveal itself. Not in its history, but in what it does to the person swinging it. The blade has weight. When we see Din Djarin struggling with it in the Book of Boba Fett, complaining that it gets heavier with each and every movement, he is not being metaphorical. A weapon made of weightless energy feels like an anchor in his hand. How is this possible? The answer is found in Star Wars Rebels, when the Mandalorian warrior Sabine Wren trains with the blade. Her Jedi teacher, Kanan Jarrus, explained the weapon's terrifying secret. The Darksaber is a conduit for the wielder's mind. Energy constantly flows through its unique kyber crystal, and your thoughts, your feelings, your conflicts, they all become part of the current. If your mind is a storm of doubt, anger, or guilt, those emotions pour directly into the blade, making it physically heavier and almost impossible to control. It does not measure virtue, it measures certainty. When Sabine Wren was weighed down by her guilt for creating weapons for the Empire, the Darksaber was an unbearable burden. Only by confronting that past did the blade become an extension of her will. When Din Djarin wielded it, he was reeling from the loss of Grogu, conflicted about his identity and the responsibility the saber represented. The armorer told him he was fighting against the blade, because his own inner turmoil was turning it into a leaden anchor of self-doubt. No other lightsaber does this. A Jedi or Sith pours their will into their blade, but the Darksaber pours the wielder's soul back at them, making their own mind their greatest enemy. Beyond its mystical connection to emotion, the Darksaber is physically different. It's not the elegant round beam of a standard lightsaber. It's a flat, sharp-edged blade, more like an ancient sword. Its sound is higher, sharper. A whistle that sets nerves on edge before a single blow is struck. This design creates a different kind of fight, but its most unpredictable property is how it interacts with other lightsabers. When its blade meets another, it doesn't just push away, it pulls. It has been described as having a magnetic-like attraction that draws other blades toward it, rewriting the physics of a duel. An opponent trained for the familiar push of a lightsaber clash will find their muscle memory betrayed, their balance broken. The Darksaber attacks not just with its edge, but with an opponent's own training. If the political, psychological, and physical dangers were not enough, the blade carries one final threat: a curse. Not on the wielder, but on the entire Mandalorian people. Mandalorian culture enshrined one rule about the Darksaber that overrode every other. It could not be given. It had to be won through combat. To take it any other way is to be an illegitimate ruler, a pretender whose claim invites doom. In the Book of Boba Fett, the armorer explains this in chilling terms. She argues that Bo-Katan Kryze's previous rule ended in the tragedy of the Great Purge because the Darksaber had been gifted to her by Sabine Wren. That single act made her claim illegitimate in the eyes of many, fracturing the clans and leaving them vulnerable when the Empire struck. Whether it was a literal curse or a self-fulfilling political prophecy, the effect was the same. Bo-Katan made the most reasonable decision to unite her people and the most wrong decision in the same breath. The disaster that followed was not just an Imperial victory, it was a verdict. An improper transfer of this weapon doesn't just endanger the wielder, it can lead to civil war and planetary ruin. So why is the Darksaber so much more dangerous? It's not about a stronger crystal or a more powerful beam. It is a weapon that attacks on 4 distinct fronts. First, it is a political crown that makes you a target for an entire people. Second, it is a psychological mirror that turns your own inner conflict into a crushing physical weight. Third, it is a physically unpredictable weapon that defies the established rules of lightsaber combat. And finally, it is a cultural verdict, a blade whose rules of succession are tied to the very survival of the Mandalorian civilization. A regular lightsaber is a dangerous weapon. The Darksaber is a dangerous entity. It demands more than skill. It demands absolute clarity of purpose, historical legitimacy, and the strength to bear the destiny of a people on your shoulders. At the end of The Mandalorian Season 3, the Darksaber was destroyed, crushed in Moff Gideon's fist. 1,000 years of history ending in a moment of spiteful annihilation, but its legend remains. What do you think becomes of its story? Is a symbol that powerful ever truly gone for good? Or will its black kyber crystal be recovered and the blade reforged? Let me know your theories in the comments below.